No, just be yourself. They'll love you.
This movie started so slow for me, and I appreciated the artsy cinematography, but the storytelling really dragged me through it for a while. I will say I have sat with these thoughts after watching the film once, and the following thoughts and analysis in the rest of the video might lead you to believe that I really didn't like this film, when in actuality, I really appreciate the symbolism and the overall stance that Emerald Fennell, the director, has secured for herself as an artist through creating this film. Meaning, I think a lot of the character ambiguity and the shock value has created a compelling dialogue among the audience. However, I feel as if it doesn't stem from a well-crafted story or overall execution. I think a lot of this compelling, almost deflective and reflective dialogue is as a result of people just not knowing how to act when they see sex or nudity in a film, which is like an extremely outdated, immature take. I've been watching videos of Emerald Fennell talking about the film, analyzing scenes and answering questions, and a lot of her responses confide in her confidence that all the answers lie within the film itself, and the answer is reliant on how you perceive the characters to be.
Do you think Oliver actually loved Felix, or just the idea of him?
When there are psychological character questions, I'm always a bit reticent to answer them, because I think the answer is so clear in the film. The only thing I will say is that the opening line of the film is I wasn't in love with him. And it's just whether or not you watch the film and think that Oliver tells the truth.
Which I personally love. I think that confidence shows that there is in fact a degree of passion put into the film, but a lack of passion is not the problem in Saltburn. Probably the main problem is that it fails to commit to being about anything else. Once Oliver confesses to Felix that he loves him, that's when the movie really starts to kind of pick up and actually contains substance that points to perhaps a larger, more interesting part of the story. But that's like so far into the film. When Oliver starts manipulating around Saltburn, it's entertaining but not incredibly insightful. It's very black and white, and it's sort of revealing the twist to the entire movie to you right then and there. And this would be a compelling character choice if the film indulged in why he might be doing this to everyone, or why he might be lying about himself, but it just doesn't. The film just zeroes in on the one-noted, I love him, I want to be him, end goal, and we don't get to know why. It's just like, I see it, I like it, I want it, I got it. Very Ariana. Once it is revealed that Oliver has lied about who he is and what has happened to his own family, I think that's when the movie really starts to shed layers to reveal a lot more about what the film is about by expanding on the recurring themes of desire and obsession, which was promising, but ultimately fell through by the end of the film in my opinion, because I feel as if the film was trying to be too many things, and the lack of commitment was what dulled and dismantled the overall message, whatever that was meant to be. I think Felix and Oliver are meant to be one of the same, but in an overly complicated way. It's sort of a commentary on classism, maybe? Once I saw that Venetia died, I kind of knew what kind of film this was going to be. It's like if Parasite, Dear Evan Hansen, and Call Me By Your Name had like the ugliest or hottest child, no in between. Like I said, Felix and Oliver's relationship was meant to show how Oliver wanted him so badly when in actuality he wanted to be him. And he ultimately gets exactly that, and he gets it almost completely on his own terms, and that just flexes the amount of power and control he contains and gains throughout the film. It's all a reflection of what he perceives as valuable and important, and it was never about a genuine connection with Felix or his family. It was all about who they were and how much Oliver wanted all of it. But then there's the mystery hanging over your head of, but maybe Oliver really was in love with Felix. And that's all interesting in itself, but I'd rather learn about why Oliver wanted this. And the significance of how much he desires Saltburn and that life doesn't really matter to me if they don't give me any idea of why he might be craving all of it. When he says accidents are for people like you, referring to Elsbeth, and work is for people like him, saying that he actually knows how to work, and then goes on to reveal that he had masterminded taking over Saltburn the entire time. I think that dialogue about work is a pretty obvious message about classism and what the film was trying to say about it, with Oliver being the protagonist. And that sentence is sort of jumbled and counterintuitive the more I think about it. I think specifically Oliver is a key piece to what the film was trying to say, and I don't fully understand what that is yet, and I'm not sure I ever will, because frankly, I think I'm reading into this more than to what Saltburn actually has to offer for substance. I think a large part of this film hangs on ambiguity and self-interpretation, but not in a compelling, well-thought-out way. It's more of a pretentious 4:3 ratio dance number in the final scene of the movie way. Because on the surface, this is a very buttoned-up plot, but the message is buried 6 feet under. Absolutely watch this alone. and then watch May December like right after and get back to me. I wrote down a lot of these thoughts while I was still finishing the movie, and honestly, the short-lived mystery of whether or not the deaths were intentional and maliciously planned out actually didn't matter to me that much, because what happens still happens. They're still dead. And I know context is key and it does change the story, so I guess what I have to say about that is that the idea of Oliver being this grand mastermind actually detracts from the heart and compelling parts of the story. Mainly it detracts from his relationship with Felix, because once it's revealed that Oliver played him the entire time, his obsession and love for him seems to be reduced to the fact that he just wanted what he had, and all the underlying feelings of desire and obsession are just a fabrication of his own undoing, which I guess is the entire point of the movie, but it's a lot less interesting because we have no idea why he's pulling all of these strings to penetrate Saltburn. I looked up why Saltburn is titled Saltburn, and the director is quoted to have said the word is innately sensual, and the idea is that you can kind of feel the word. And I think the meaning of the title sort of sums up the major shortcoming of this film. You're showing me all of these feelings, like all the feelings, but I don't care because I have no fucking clue who the protagonist is. Why is Oliver the way he is? I never cared about whether or not he got what he wanted before it's revealed that he is basically the bad guy, because there was nothing he was actively working against. I had no real reason to root for him. It was essentially a basic coming-of-age film for a while. You could argue he was fighting his own demons and his own insecurities with isolation and social incompetency, but even once it's revealed that he lies about his family and it's not as bad as you are led to believe it is, you still don't learn a bit about why he does that, or why he is the way he is. And that is a recurring mystery throughout the entire film. And that's just not compelling to me. I'm getting close to finding myself in an echo chamber a bit, so I'll end it with this. It would be more interesting if the film was centered around why a person like Oliver would do the things he did to the people he had all these feelings towards. It's all about feelings, I guess. But only about feelings, not about why you feel your feelings. I feel like I would have liked this movie a lot if I were 16 and just found out what A24 was.
That's what it feels like to feel like that. And so that you can't make a movie that's just frictionless and sweet and streamlined and easy. You have to make something complicated.